Hello and good morning to everyone. Last class we have seen the summary of lesson number 7, the interview, which is written by Christopher Sylvester. So we have gone through each paragraph and I explained to you each paragraph, and now we will do that recap of this lesson, part 1 and part 2. So this lesson, which is the name of this lesson, is the interview, written by Christopher Sylvester, briefs the new invention interview in the field of journalism. Interview that was invented over 130 years have become a commonplace journalism. Today, every literate or illiterate will have to experience interview at some point of daily life. However, opinions of interview, of its functions, methods, merits vary considerably. Some claims it has the source of despise, no, source of truth and its practice, an art. Others despise the interview as an unwarranted intrusion into their lives. They feel it diminishes them. Sylvester lists out well-known writers who are against interview: V.S. Naipaul, Lewis Carroll, Rudyard Kipling, H.G. Wells. Though he had interviewed many personalities, it is surprising to notice that as an interviewer, each one is comfortable, whereas as an interviewee, they feel it much disturbing and diminishing. Yet, in the words of the writer, it is a serviceable medium. This was given in the first part of the lesson. The name of the lesson is the interview. Now we will go through the what it is given in the summary, lesson number 7, part 2. Part 2 is an extract from an interview of Umberto Eco, author of the popular novel name was Name of the Rose by Mugun Padmanabhan from the Hindu. This interview helps us know many aspects of his writing style and ideas. Though he gives the impression of doing many things at a time, he says he is doing the same thing, pursuing his philosophical interest through his writing and his novels. Though his modest answers, he tells the secret of his success. He utilizes the interstices of empty spaces to his advantage. Umberto Eco, pan academician, refers himself to be called an academician. He has written 40 philosophical writings and just 5 novels. When Mukund Padmanabhan asked the reason behind the huge success of The Name of the Rose, he honestly replies that it is a mystery even to him. Perhaps the appropriateness of the time it was written could be the reason. He himself admits had the novel come 10 years later or earlier, the novel would not have got such success. As we go through this extract, we can easily note that Umberto Eco does not think interview is a crime or an offense. He interacts properly and modestly. Well, this was the summary of lesson number 7, part 1 as well as part 2. Now let's go through the question answers of this lesson. So children, we are going to discuss the first question. The question is, all these questions are extra questions. I am just discussing with you. What are the some of the positive views on interviews? The first question is like that. What are the some of the positive views on interviews? Answer is interview in the 130 years of its existence has become an inherent part of journalism. It is a useful means of communication that is at times considered to be an art serving as a source of truth. Dennis Brian has stated that in today's world we get to know our contemporaries through their interviews. Second question. Why do most celebrity writers despise being interviewed? I repeat the question. Why do most celebrity writers despise being interviewed? Answer is celebrity writers believe that interviews unduly interfere in their private lives. They regard themselves as victims of interviews. They claim that the interview in some way diminishes them, just like some ancient cultures believed that a portrait of a person takes away his soul. Certain celebrities like V.S. Naipaul have claimed that interviews leave them wounded, while others like Rudyard Kipling have referred to it as a crime and an immoral act. Question number 3. What is the belief in some primitive cultures about being photographed? Answer. Some primitive cultures believed that photographing a person is no less than stealing his or her soul out of the body and rendering him incomplete and slighted. I repeat the answer. Some primitive cultures believed that photographing a person is no less than stealing his or her soul out of the body and rendering him incomplete and slighted. Fourth question. What do you understand by the expression thumbprints on his windpipe? The expression means having been strangulated. The interview is an assault on a person as it makes him or her or so tense that he or she feels as good as being choked. Question number 5. Who in today's world is our chief source of information about personalities? I repeat, who in today's world is our chief source of information about personalities? Answer is in modern time the chief source of information on personalities is the interviewer who through his power and influence gathers information and provides us with the best possible information on the interviews. He extracts everything significant through his questions for us. Now we will see the questions which is given in your textbooks. Understanding the text. So question first is given here. Do you think Umberto Eco likes being interviewed? Give reasons for your opinion. So first question is, do you think Umberto Eco likes being interviewed? Give reasons for your opinion. So answer is yes, Umberto Eco in all possibilities likes being interviewed. He felt just at ease with the interviewer and answered all the questions fully and patiently without showing any hurry. He stated his achievement in a very modest manner and explained his philosophical views and interests clearly. He let the interviewer enter the secret about his craft with a loud laugh. Also, he elaborated his approach, which was unique. He was mannerly, warm, and properly responsive as well. I repeat, yes, Umberto Eco in all possibilities likes being interviewed. He felt just at ease with the interviewer and answered all the questions fully and patiently without showing any hurry. He stated his achievement in a very modest manner and explained his philosophical views and interest clearly. He let the interviewer enter the secret about his craft with a loud laugh. Also, he elaborated his approach, which was unique. He was mannerly, warm, and properly responsive as well. The second question: how does Eco find the time to write so much? Answer is: there are two factors that explain how Eco was able to write so much. In his own words, the life of every person has exply spaces, periods with no important jobs. He says that he did most of his writing during these free intervals. Second, he explains that people wondered that he, means Eco, had written so much on various subjects. But the fact is that he was writing on the same lines and same interest, peace and non-violence, etc. All his works were linked with the thread of common interest. It saves his time and he could write a lot in a short period of time. That was the secret behind Eco's prolific pen. Now, the third question: what was the distinctive about Eco's academic writing style? Answer: Alberto Eco's academic writing style is quite distinctive. It has certain playful and personal quality about it. It is marked departure from a regular academic style, which is usually depersonalized and often dry and boring. I repeat, Alberto Eco's academic writing style is quite distinctive. It has a certain playful and personal quality about it. It is marked departure from a regular academic style, which is usually depersonalized and often dry and boring. Fourth question: did Alberto Eco consider himself a novelist first or an academic scholar? Answer: Alberto Eco considered himself an academic scholar first and a novelist later. He makes his preference clear by saying, I consider myself a university professor who writes novels on Sundays. On weekdays, he attends academic conferences and does other scholarly, non-fictional work. I repeat, Alberto Eco considered himself an academic scholar first and a novelist later. He makes his preference clear by saying, I consider myself a university professor who writes novel on Sundays. On weekdays, he attends academic conferences and does other scholarly non-fictional work. The fifth question: what is the reason for huge success of the novel The Name of the Rose? Answer: The Name of the Rose is different sort of novel. It is quite serious novel. It is a detective story at one level, but it also probes into metaphysics, theology and medieval history. The reason for the success of the book, however, remain a mystery. I repeat the answer. The Name of the Rose is different sort of novel. It is quite serious novel. It is a detective story at one level, but it also probes into metaphysics, theology and medieval history. The reason for the success of the book, however, remain a mystery. Now the next was discussing pairs in small groups. We are going to the medium like you best on interview, print, radio, or television. So the question is the medium which is you like, the medium you like best on an interview, print, radio, or television. Answer you can write. I am just discussing according to my view. The medium I like best for an interview is the television. It has both audio and visual effect. It presents the interviewer and interviewee before the audience in their true colors. Usually, celebrities accuse the reporters of misquoting them or misreporting them in the print media or the radio. This is not possible when they are face to face on the television. Their lip movement and body movement while replying to probing questions are there for all to see. Recording of the various expression coming on the face of the interviewee and his or her gestures and words are the additional advantages that television holds over the print media or the radio. The print media has dull, dry words alongside a picture, whereas the radio tries to create the atmosphere by skillful variations of the sound. Both expect a lot of attentions from the reader and the audience. Second, every famous person has right to his or her privacy. Interviewers sometimes embarrass celebrities with very personal questions. So I repeat the questions. Every famous person has right to his or her privacy. Interviewers sometimes embarrasses celebrities with very personal questions. Answer. Interviewers want to present exclusive and intimate details about the famous persons they are interviewing. Some interviewers focus on the public life and achievements of the individual only. They try to be objective in their approach as well as assessment. However, there are others who want to make their interviews more spicy and usually cross the thin limit of privacy of the individual. In their zeal to present good copy, they embarrass the famous person with the personal questions. Sometimes, impact of such questions on famous person reveals his or her aversion as well as irritation at the silliness of the person. If they shout, they are accused of being rude and proud, and if they keep mum, they are labeled as arrogant. In my opinion, the privacy of an individual must be respected. So children, the next question. Why did Umberto Eco prefer himself to be called an academician than a novelist? Answer. Despite achieving fame as well as novelist, Eco preferred to associate himself with the academic community because his non-fictional work occupied him for the first 50 years of his life. He wrote his first novel at the age of around 50. He identified himself more with the academic community and resorts to writing fiction only when he was not pursuing some scholarly work. Now, question number 2. Why do most celebrity writers despise being interviewed? Or what are the views of writers like V.S. Naipaul and Lewis Carroll on interviews? So you can write the answers. Celebrities like Naipaul, Rudyard Kipling and Lewis Carroll and H.G. Wells have expressed their strong despise for interviews. They consider interviews immoral as an assault because they feel interviews leave a rather disparaging effect on their personalities and are encroachment on their privacy. Question number 3. What do you learn about Alberto Eco's distinctive style in his doctoral dissertation? So you can write the answer in this way. Alberto Eco's academic writing style is personal, informal, and playful. He fills his research stories with all the trials and errors so that even his research work has the uniqueness of creative writing and reading. It is not only informative but also interesting. Question number 4. State the reason for the huge success of the novel, The Name of the Rose. Answer. There is no reason for the huge success of the novel. The Name of the Rose, Alberto Eco himself calls its success a mystery. It is possible that this detective story that dwells into metaphysics, theology, and medieval history interested the readers because the time in which it was written was most appropriate, neither a decade earlier or a decade later. Question number 5. The Name of the Rose deals with medieval history. Was it responsible of the novel's success? Answer. The success of the novel, The Name of the Rose, did not depend on merely one factor. Many other novels dealt with medieval history but did not achieve much success. Its success is more attributed to the timing of its publication, its narrative style, and detective yarn, and so the fact that dwells into metaphysics and theology along with medieval history. Question number 6. What did the publishers think of The Name of the Rose? American publisher of The Name of the Rose loved and liked the novel but did not expect to sell more than 3,000 copies. No one goes to a cathedral or studies Latin in America, so it was really difficult to sell such a novel there. But the publishers was proved wrong as 2 or 3 million copies of the novel were sold in America. Question number 7. What drawbacks of interviews have been pointed out by Lewis Carroll? Lewis Carroll considers interview as an unwarranted intrusion, that is, immoral and an offense against his person. He shunned interviews for fear of being projected as larger than life. His vehement refusal for interviews enabled him to keep his fans as well as interviews at an arm's length. I repeat the question and answers. What drawbacks of interviews have been pointed out by Lewis Carroll? You can write Lewis Carroll considered interview as an unwarranted intrusion, that is immoral and an offense against his person. He shunned interviews for fear of being projected as larger than life. His vehement refusal for interviews enabled him to keep his fans as well as interviews at an arm's length. Question number 8. Why do most celebrity writers hate to be interviewed? Answer. Most of the celebrity writers shun interviews as they feel that interviews leave a disparaging effect on their personalities. They consider them as an encroaching on their privacy. Writers like V.S. Naipaul feel that they are being wounded by interviews and thus losing a part of themselves. Now question number 9. How did Lewis Carroll react to the interviews? How did Lewis Carroll react to the interviews? Or this question can be asked in this way. What was Lewis Carroll's attitude towards being interviewed? Answer is, Lewis Carroll shunned interviews for the fear of being projected as larger than life. He vehemently refused to give interviews and kept his fans and acquaintances and interviewers at an arm's length. This gave him a great sense of satisfaction. So I am reading the answers of each of the following questions in about 150 125 to 150 words. If it comes in your exam, you can write in this way. The questions would be like that. What made the American publishers think that the novel, The Name of the Rose, won't sell in America? What actually happened? What was the secret of his success? Or what is the reason for the huge success of this novel, The Name of the Rose, according to Umberto Eco? Answer: the American publisher believed that people liked trash, whereas The Name of the Rose dwelt into metaphysics, theology, and medieval history. People do not like these difficult reading experiences. Through his novel, which sold between 10 to 15 million copies, Umberto Eco reached only a few percentage of readers. But according to him, it is those kind of readers who do not want easy experience, or at last do not always want this. Umberto Eco cannot categorically state the reason for the huge success of the novel. The Name of the Rose, he himself refers to its success as a mystery. He feels that this detective story has dwelled into metaphysics, theology, and medieval history, interested the readers as it was written at the most appropriate time. Had it been written a decade earlier or later, it would not have been so successful. The way the book stormed the literary world once it was out surprised everyone. Even though it contained somewhat heavy reading, the book attracted a mass audience, and Eco became famous as the novelist rather than an academic scholar the world over. What do you think about Umberto Eco? Does he like being interviewed? Give reason in support of your answer from the text, the interview. Answer: unlike various other celebrities who express a strong dislike for interviews and consider it an encroachment upon their privacy, Umberto Eco seems to be kind of enjoy giving interviews, considering the spirited manner in which he answers the questions put forth to him by the interviewer. Mukund Padmanabhan, Eco readily and truthfully uh, answers all the questions in the most humble and sincere manner, delving into the details, thus revealing the fact that he actually does not mind sharing his experience with others. At no point does he display any kind of haste to wind up the interview. In fact, uh, he explicitly answers all the questions that Padmanabhan asks him, giving the interview a feeling of warmth and being welcome. Question number 12. Why did Umberto Eco start writing novels, and when? What does Eco say about the huge success of his novel, The Name of the Rose, in spite of it being a difficult and very serious novel? Answer: Umberto Eco was essentially an academician who pursued his scholarly pursuits through an academic writings. He wrote about 40 non-fictions, and as he himself says, he became a novelist by accident. That was the reason he started writing novels at the age of almost 50. Eco considers himself a university professor who writes novels only on Sundays. He is not even very sure about any one single reason for the huge success of his novel, The Name of the Rose. He feels perhaps the time of the novel's publication was the most important factor of his success. The fact that at one level it appears to be a detective yarn but also dwells into metaphysics, theology, and medieval history also adds to his appeal. Though the novel is quite a heavy reading experience, it attracted a mass audience and made Eco popular more as a novelist rather than an academic scholar. Now the question number 13. What impression do you form about Umberto Eco as a scholar and writer on the basis the interview. Or this question can be asked in this way: what was the distinctive about Eco's academic writing style? You can write the answer in this way: Umberto Eco's style is narrative, written in the manner of a story. This is contrast to a regular academic style, which is invariably depersonalized, dry, and boring. His scholarly work has a certain playful and personal quality to it. He pursued his philosophical interest through his academic work and novels. He also wrote books for children on nonviolence and peace. Umberto Eco, a professor at the University of Bologna in Italy, is an authority on semiotics, the study of science. He is also a well-known novelist. His scholarly include academic tests, essays, children's book, and newspaper activities. He pursues his philosophical interest through his academic writing and novels. In spite of having reached the deep of the intellectuality, the Eco is a humble and modest scholar. He brushes aside compliments and never boasts about his achievements. He is keen to share his experience with others and shares the secret of accomplishing so much work by revealing the fact that he makes the use of time gap between different pieces of work. Eco follows an informal and playful style of writing with a narrative aspect. Even his research work has a quality of creating writings and makes informative as well as interesting reading. Now question number 14. Eco's academic work has certain playful and personal quality about it. Comment. You can write the answer. Eco presents his arguments very logically and with a subtle wit and a playfulness to it, and he himself says that he started writing novels by accident. He essentially considered himself a university professor who wrote novels on Sunday. This non-fictional writing is marked departure from the regular depersonalized style, which is often dry and boring. Even his research work has the quality to create writing and makes only information about also interesting reading. In his doctoral dissertation, Eco tells the story of his research, including his trials and errors. His essays too always have a narrative aspect. So children, we have discussed the question answers and the summary of this lesson. So write the question answers in your notebook and keep reading the textbook as well. Until the next class, next video, keep practicing, keep learning. Bye from me.